name of God, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen. Today we hear the parable from St. Luke on the parable of the sower. And at the end of the gospel today, we hear Christ say, "Those who have ears to hear, let them hear." It's a saying that Christ uses pretty often in the Gospels. We hear it, he says it a lot. Those who have ears to hear, let them hear. And there's a pious saying, a story that goes that someone had died, and they went to heaven. And when he got to heaven, he saw nothing but mushrooms everywhere, growing. And for some reason, he was brought back to life. He came back to this earth. It was just a glimpse of what heaven was like. And he told everyone that it was mushrooms, but when he thought about it, no, it wasn't. It was ears, or earlobes, all glittered across heaven. And the point of it being was that everyone hears the gospel, but it stops at their ears and doesn't penetrate into their heart. And so their ears were the only things worthy to make it to heaven. And so this little trite story is supposed to prick our hearts a little bit to think that what do we hear? Are we just hearing the gospel? Do we hear Christ's words? Do we hear his teachings and not let it penetrate into our hearts, into our being? Are we not taking action upon the word? And this is precisely what this parable that we hear about today. It's about taking action. Oftentimes we may hear this parable and think that Christ, who is the sower of the word, he is the word himself, is liberally throwing the seed in all directions, and he's kind of careless about it. He's throwing it in rocky soil, he's throwing it on paths that are worn down, he's putting it in places that won't take root. And so we kind of think, well, why was he doing that? Well, it's not the case. He's actually throwing it into fertile ground everywhere. Everything is fertile. The fact is that the soil is not prepared because of our own doing. That we do not tend to the soil. He places it in to fertile soil, but we allow the ground to not become fertile because of our inaction, of our hearing but not doing in the gospel. And he gives a further explanation to his disciples who were kind of not understanding exactly the parable that he's saying. And he tells them basically that there's going to be everyone who hears this. And some of us are not going to endure to the end with this teaching for various reasons. And he tells us some very pointed reasons why people would not get into heaven. Why the seed won't take root in their hearts. And to apply it to our lives, we can say that basically that if we throw seed and we don't prepare the soil, and that path that gets the birds to take it, that's the path of the passions. That's the path that we are tempted by the devil in our lives, with bad habits, with sinful life, and we don't care to change it. We don't care to change it, so we're left open to the devil, open to the evil one. We are bare exposed, and he takes us away. Takes us away. The rocky soil where the seed is thrown and no moisture is there to give it root, that means that we lack prayer. We lack church attendance. And we lack taking that and moisturizing that seed and giving it what it needs to blossom. All of us are baptized into Christ. All of us have the great potential to blossom. But not all of us water the seed. And so we have to live a life of prayer. This is what this really means. We have to live a life of deep prayer. We cannot not go through this life and not pray and think that we're going to be in heaven or that we're going to be spiritually mature people. And then the thorns, brothers and sisters. The thorns that choke us up is this world. Perhaps we follow the path of the world and we get caught up on the day-to-day. Obviously, we put on the news and it really takes our hearts away from God any day for the things that we see. And we lose our attention to what really is important. But also we sometimes fall into bad company. We fall and hang around people that we probably shouldn't. People whose primary goal in life is not to get closer to Christ. And we tend to have our company with them more than with the fellowship with our people here in the church and people who have like-minded goals. And if that's the case, then we get choked. Those thorns will choke us. We're not going to be able to grow, develop spiritually. And this is what this parable is. But he says those who do tend, those who actually do hear and do something about it and take action, will grow 30-fold, 40-fold, 100-fold. They have a great potential. They have a great potential to be saint-like, to be perfect like our Father in heaven is perfect, as he says. So, brothers and sisters, today's parable is about not just hearing, but doing. But taking the teachings of the church, taking the words of the gospel, and applying them into our lives. And the only way we can do that is by becoming a little bit more ascetical, a little bit more faithful, a little bit more prayerful. This is the only way we can take our wretched souls and develop them into the kingdom of God. It is in our hands. We can do nothing without God. This is true. But he leaves a lot in our hands. And it's our responsibility to make sure the ground that we walk on is very firm, so that that word will take root. In the name of God, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen.